One. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the MakeCode Arcade Advanced stream. I'm Richard, at Richard on the MakeCode forum.
And I'm Hassan, at Hassan on the MakeCode forum.
And we're back working on our Zelda-like game. Just another reminder that Shannon, Vivian, and Joey are out for the week. And I have promised I'm not going to get any quarters. So, yeah, look forward to that. But today I thought we would work on a dungeon, kind of, or just like the basics of a dungeon, you know? So I already did a little dungeon tile set. It doesn't have that much going on, and it's got some mistakes that I need to fix, like this up here. Look at that. Come on, 2-year-old Richard from 2 years ago. How'd you let that through? I have one other tile I still need to do to make it so that we have this doorway here on the left. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we will get started doing a dungeon, which I haven't done any code for yet. What are the tiles I'm doing right now? So we have these corners for each of the walls, but we need to have doorways going in each of the directions so that we can, transition between the different screens. And so I need to make these interior corners, which I did not make, so that I can have a nice little thing going off here and not just like the floor tile. And so I've already done these 3. I need one more, and then I'll be able to make it work here and then up here on the top 2. And then we'll start coding it. I have an idea of what the code's going to look like, but I haven't started it yet. Okay, so anyway, to make this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my this tile right here. So let's go into My Tiles. We're going to create a new tile. Going to go into Gallery. And one nifty thing about the gallery is when you add extensions that have tiles in them, which is what I did to get this tile set, you can just go into the gallery and grab that tile if you want to edit it. So let me go ahead and find that one. It's this one. All right. Now I've been doing this wrong all day. So what I want to do is I want to take this one and I want to have the line so it matches this one up here. So I want to be going up to the left. And then we also want to make it so that it matches up with this one up here. I'll probably get it wrong, but it's easy to adjust if I do get it wrong. So, all right, so let's edit this tile. We want this to be going up and to the left. So I'm going to make just a diagonal line, which is going to be where the wall is, or where the bend in the wall is, like the interior corner. So we're going to do it like that. All right, and let's get rid of this extra stuff because we're going to be drawing over it. Okay, so now that I've got this, we want to make it so that it's going in like the opposite direction. So this is going to be like the corner of the wall, and then the other wall is going to be like at the bottom here. So I'm going to just move this over here. And I'm going to take my lines for my bricks, and I'm going to make them match up like this. So the easy way to do this is to make sure just that you have the same height as the bricks. And then I like to make it so that it's not too thick by not doing this one right here. I just leave that one blank and have it shaded. It looks okay. All right, now I want to do this one, and and then I want to clear these guys out right here to make a nice little corner. And now I'm going to turn these into bricks. So I'm just going to put some random, little mortar marks in between the bricks. And with this, let's go ahead and stop. And I'm going to see how we look so far. Yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. So you can see it's up here in the where my cursor is right now, and it's matching up well. But we also need it to match up here, and yeah, I did that wrong. So it looks like we're off by 1 in the Y direction. So that's easy to fix. We can just go into here. We're going to do select all. Just use the up arrow key to move everything up by 1 pixel. And now we will go ahead and fix our thing. So let's see, it should be white. Fill this in with the tan. And there we go. Okay, so we're matching up over here and we're matching up over here. It still looks a little weird right now because we haven't done the shading yet. It should be this one. There you go. Because we haven't done the shading or made sure the colors are right on that wall yet. So let's do that right now. Okay, so first of all, we need this bottom part to be white. So let's go ahead and make that change. Right here. We want to make sure that we have the highlights for the lights going in the right direction. So if I look at this wall up here, the white should be on the right. So we're going to do just like this, kind of just matching our other tiles, like the bricks that we have over here. And with that, okay, top and right. So I messed it up for these two. I'll just fix that real quick. And need to make this go like all the way over here. It's doing some weird stuff. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that looks all right. Not amazing, but I'll take it. And I'll put this one over here. And I'm realizing I made a mistake in this tile too. But it's too white. There we go. All right, cool. Okay, we got doorways. Looks pretty okay. And so the idea, let's talk a little bit about like the things I want to do for this dungeon and the types of things I want to have going on. So we're going to have some rooms that are just like this. You know, you can walk up in all of the different directions. But the reason we're having doorways and we're not just making them continuous is because we want to do things where there are certain rooms that you can't get into, either because you need a key or because you need to solve some sort of puzzle to get through. Maybe like defeat all of the enemies in the room. Different kind of like constraints. So we make doorways for our room so that we can block them when they enter. And then when they have, you know, like completed whatever the challenge is, we'll unblock them. And then you can, you know, go on. So before we go any further, let's go ahead. We're going to mark our walls. Just like that. And this is really annoying me, so we're going to fix that. Yeah, so I'm going to have to duplicate this tile. That's fine.
I gotta say, when you're really zoomed in, it's harder to tell what it is. But as soon as you zoom out, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a corner, of course.
Yeah. Does that help?
Oh no, it's fine. I was saying like when you were editing them.
Oh yeah.
And like in that view, I'm like, what am I looking at? And then as soon as you like go back in the context where it's in, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yep. And definitely that happens sometimes, especially when I'm editing something for like a long time. I'll get into a state where I'm like, this just looks like pixels. I can't tell what I'm doing anymore. Yeah, okay. So I just duplicated this tile and I just made one change, which was to correct my past mistake and fix that little, you know, extra like black line over there, which was annoying me. Oh, I need to fix this one too. No lines here. No, thank you. There we go. Cool. Yeah, I don't like it when the border ends right on the edge of the screen because then it just looks really like heavy, you know. And so I think it's better to not do that. Okay, let's look at our walls, make sure everything matches up. Good, looks good. And all right, we got our like our template room. And I'm going to actually, so when we're making tile maps for this dungeon, I'm going to be copying and pasting this room so that I don't have to keep all of the wall stuff. And then I'll just like edit it, you know, so that we can get some things going on. But for now, I want to actually get the dungeon like in the game. So let's go ahead and go over to blocks and let's decide where we want this dungeon to be. So I was thinking that the dungeon would be this little like right here.
Mm-hmm.
That sound good to you?
I like that.
All right. So we need to write some code so that when we go into here, we're going to load our dungeon. And I think the way we're going to define our dungeon is just like how we define the like map, the map of maps that is our world. So wait, let me do a Daryl real quick. There we go. All right, so we've got our our world is made up of a bunch of tile maps. And if you remember in our first stream, we kind of just made this big array of arrays. And so we're going to do the same thing for our dungeon. We're going to make another one of these. We're going to have all of the maps in a big array like this. And then we're going to just kind of swap them around. And that should work pretty well. So to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just duplicate this whole thing. And so one thing you need to know is you need to be careful when you duplicate tile maps, because tile maps are they're like named assets. So if you duplicate one, and then if I like go edit this one up here, this one down here will also be edited because they're pointing to the same tile map. That's why I always like to do my tile maps from the assets pane when I'm doing a bunch of tile maps. Because then when I go into here, I can just go ahead and select all of the ones that I want to show up. And so I'm doing the editing in the assets, coming over here, and I'm just selecting my tile maps from the My Assets tab. Okay, let's get started. We're going to go ahead and change this variable. We're going to make a new variable, and we're going to call it dungeon map. And we need to, I think, make another variable, and our variable is going to be called current map. And so right now we're using this tile map variable just like everywhere that we're using the map, which is actually only one place, I think. We want to, though, use like a current map variable so that we can switch between this tile map when we go into the dungeon and switch back to the, switch to the dungeon map when we go into the dungeon and then switch back to the tile map when we leave. I put map in these words too many times. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this current map variable, and we're going to start out by just setting our current map to be our tile maps. I'm going to do a get tile map, and then just put it in here. Set current map to tile map. So now let me make sure I'm actually using this variable in the place where it's used. I'm pretty sure it's only used in one function, which is this load map at location. And I'm going to change this tile map to be current map.
I have a quick question about quarters. Are quarters only when you forget to use a function that you've created, or also if you forget to use a variable?
Okay, so forgetting to use a variable is not a quarter, but there are more ways to get a quarter than just forgetting to use a function. The main other way, and this was like an established thing because we were doing it so often, because these quarters are supposed to be like correcting our behavior, supposed to be reforming us. Is if you are adding an extension and you type in the wrong thing, that's a quarter.
Okay. So chat is convinced. I think it's every quarter is 2 quarters right now.
Oh my gosh. So every quarter I get is going to count as 2 quarters? Is that what they want?
Unsigned was saying it's a double quarter week or something along those lines. So I don't remember if and when did we set that.
You know what? Bring it on. Every quarter is worth 2 quarters this week, and that's fine because I'm not going to get any quarters. So, let's do it. Oh man, Vivian's gonna be thrilled when she gets back. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're gonna go with our dungeon map, and we're gonna start replacing these tile maps that we have in here. And so just to get something like on the board, I'm gonna go ahead and take this one, which is the dungeon map, you can see, and I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of all these. Go away. Actually, yeah, I'll just get rid of all these. It's gonna be angry at me because the types are wrong now. I'm gonna just put this like empty dungeon one. Gonna duplicate this a bunch of times. And we're going to fill our array back up. We probably won't use all of these squares. That would be a pretty big dungeon. Well, I don't know, maybe we will. All right, so now we got a dungeon map. It's not going to load right now, but if I were to go ahead and change this to be dungeon map, Check it out, we're in our dungeon. It's just endless hallways of the same thing.
Kind of get endless. Is it the Lost Woods in Zelda?
It's the Lost Woods, yeah, except there is actually no way out. Okay. This dungeon's very orange.
It is.
Hopefully it conveys the excitement of being in a dungeon, you know? Also, I'm sorry for the frame rate of my simulator on the stream. It looks fine on my computer, but my internet is not as good as Vivian's, so it's probably a bit choppier for you guys. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead now and do our code to load this dungeon the right way. So I'm going to change this back to be tile map. And we have a tile, which is our...
Oh, you missed it. Let's go down a little bit. Underneath.
Yeah, one day, we should do a thing where you scroll up and down in the variable list, and if it's not, if you don't find it, despite the fact that the variable list is alphabetized.
That's what I was gonna say.
But we're not going to do that this week. And we need the rest. We need the council. We need at least like a plurality of people here to I think.
We don't have a quorum when it's just the two of us.
Yeah, we need at least one more person. All right. So we've got a tile. That is that door. And that door to the dungeon, it's only used in one place. So we can go ahead and just put an event for this tile. So let's go over to our scene category. We're going to drag out an on-tile overlap block. Come on, scene category. There we go. Where are you? There we go. On sprite of kind player overlaps checkerboard. We're going to change this checkerboard to be that door tile, which is not this one. Where is it? Is it this one? I think it's that one. Can't tell. Okay, we're going to open up this tile map and see if we can figure it out. All right, so if I put this over here. Okay, I think it's that one. I think it is that one. That looks right. Okay, so we can test that out. But to start, I think we're going to make an entrance for our dungeon. So let's go back over to assets. We're going to duplicate our tile map. So just click duplicate. And did it put down here at the bottom? Of course it did. There we go. And we're going to make this one our just like opening place. So I'm going to just make it a straight hallway. Look at that.
Nice.
And we'll do some walls. And this is going to be our entrance. And we're going to have to put something to mark that this is the exit. So to do that, I think we'll make it like a custom tile. It would be cool if it was like a tile where like light was spilling in, you know? Yeah. But I don't know if I have the capability to draw that. So we're just gonna make
like a lantern or like a spot of light, like a floor above.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like it's opening into the daylight, right? So it's just like shining on the floor. So we're just gonna make a blank tile. It's gonna you know, say some words. Exit. There you go. Okay, so we got this exit tile. And with the exit tile, when we overlap with this, we'll know that we should be going back to our dungeon location. So let's go back to our code. There we go. So we'll make this one our entrance. So let's go into my assets and select that tile map we just made. We should filter out these blank tile maps. I'm going to put that on my list of to-dos. And we're going to put this down here at the bottom. And now what we want to do is we want to head back over to our event, and we're going to set our current map in here to be the dungeon map. And we need to load our correct location. So let's do some counting. We've got 0, 1, 2. Okay, so our column is 2. And our row is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want to load 2, 5. We don't want the try one. We want to just do it. There we go. 2, 5. All right. Woo, I'm in the dungeon. Okay, we appeared in the middle of the room. That's not great. We don't want to do that. So we want to make it so that when we appear in the dungeon, we're appearing just right above these exit tiles. So we're going to place ourselves in the right location. And since we are just kind of hard coding this, it's easy enough to do. We just need to set our X to be the middle of the screen, and we'll set our Y to be, let's see, that's 8 from the top minus another 8. So it'll be 120 minus 16, so 104. 104, I think, should do it. We'll do 103 just to give us a little bit of wiggle room. All right, set position. Gonna change this to be hero. X should be 80. And this should be 103. Ooh, nice. All right. Cool.
Nice.
Now, yeah, what's up?
I was just noticing the EX. I guess eventually we'll replace those to be part of the floor. Or that's for exit. I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it is. We're gonna cover it up though. We don't want the player to see my poor handwriting.
Take a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're gonna do the opposite now. So we've got our exit tile. So we're gonna set our current map to be the tile map. We're gonna load a map at location. So this one should be 0, 1. And then we need to set the position of our hero, which I think this one's not centered. Yeah, this one's not centered. So it should be like 88. And then the Y should be, let's see, 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, minus 8, 72. Okay, so it should be 88, 73, I think. We'll see if I did that right.
Oh, man, I'm surprised by your ability to just eyeball pixels. I guess if you're working in units of 16 or 32.
Yeah, I'm not eyeballing. I'm looking at the.
Oh, the time. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay. Whoops. Well, I did that wrong.
Teleport.
1, 0. All right. Go in here. All right. Go out here. All right. Perfect.
Nice.
Cool. Okay.
Nice.
So we got our dungeon now, and we can walk up here and walk around back into our lost woods. But we need to hide these exit tiles. We don't want the player to see those. So let's go to our on tile map loaded event. This one right here. Now we're going to take this, and And let's see, yeah, we're covering these tiles up here. So we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to cover all of the exit tiles with that floor we're using. Is got so many tiles in this map.
Yeah, it's huge.
This? No, that's not it.
Maybe that looks like a forest.
No, that's a different one actually. I have 2 pattern tiles that could be used with the dungeon. Yeah, there we go. This one. This is the one I'm actually using.
Also, let me know if you can hear the lawnmower. I can mute myself.
Now, sounds fine. All right, well, this didn't work. Why didn't that work?
Got it.
Yeah, you can hear it a little bit, but only like when you're.
Overall something.
Yeah, so cover all the exit tiles with this, but for some reason it's not
Well, those
covering.
just say, those just say EX. Am I missing a portion of it?
They're cut off. So
okay.
our tile maps are 80 by our tile maps are 16 by 16 tiles, but our screen is 120 by 160, and 16 doesn't go into 120.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. So we have 8 pixels at the bottom. Fun fact, the screen was originally 136, or no, sorry, not 136, 128 tall, but we changed it because this is a much more common ratio, aspect ratio than 128 by 160 is. You know, no one does that one. So if we were ever going to like blow it up to a much bigger screen, you would never be able to find screens that match 128 by 160. So we wanted to make sure that it was 120 by 160.
Oh, that makes sense, because like you need to actually think about doing these on like physical devices and not just.
Well, yeah, and also just like TVs, you know.
That too.
Like the standard widescreen. Yeah, like that guy.
I'm just so used to working in powers of 2 when it comes to all things computer science.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I remember what happened. So I believe we factored our function out a while ago so that we didn't call on tile map loaded inside of the load map at location. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this down here. We put that inside of the try load map at location. Before you get started, this is not a quarter. Didn't forget to call a function. I just forgot about a refactoring we did. There we go. How furious is chat with me?
Chat is not furious, though. Davix is wondering when and if we will insert art.
Oh, yeah. So I want to get through the dungeon stuff today, but my plan is that we're going to be adding more enemies at some point for the dungeon. We'll probably have different enemies inside than we do outside. So I'm going to be using your art then, Davix. So thank you. It will make it into the game, but it might not be today because I have some other stuff that I want to do today.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I imagine we'll just be working on this for most of the week.
Yeah. I think Vivian should be back like mid next week, and Joey too. So when they're back, we'll probably switch to working on other stuff. But as long as it's me streaming, I think we're just going to keep working on this game.
Nice.
Okay. All right. So we got our dungeon. It's loading. It's covering up the tiles. It's pretty boring right now, though, I have to say. So let's do some traps. Good dungeons have traps.
You made I think a pit trap asset the other day.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I made 2. I made a pit trap and I made a spike trap. And so we're going to add a bunch of those. Both of those are also things that I added to my hit game dungeon on forums now.
Nice.
Because I like them. I always like them when they show up in games. So
yeah.
Okay. Which one do you want to do first, Hassan? Spike or the pit?
I want to see the pit.
All right. So let's do the pit first. So the idea is we're going to have, let's go back to our assets so I can show this off. We have this tile somewhere. Right, so this tile, this tile right here. So this is going to be a pit trap. you'll be able to see it. But when you go over it, it falls down, and then if you are overlapping with it while it's falling down, you will also fall down. Play animation. Play. There we go. You will also fall down, so that you like are like getting smaller as you fall into the pit, and then we're going to respawn you back to somewhere where it's safe. So to make this happen, let's go ahead and make a tile map to start off with. So I'm going to open up this one, going to copy, going to go into over here. I'm going to paste, and then change this to be the right dimensions. And now let's go ahead and make a pit trap room. Oh, got the spike trap. Okay, so I'm thinking that maybe we could do, how devious do we want to be?
How devious do we want to be? I mean, so this looks exactly like the normal tile, right?
No, it looks,
okay, so
it's a little bit different, right? Yes, they can see it, and we can debate about whether we want to make it so that they can see it or not.
Yeah. So eventually, is it going to be like just the traps you have to avoid, or will there be a situation where there is, say, like an enemy and also a trap, just to make it so that moving around?
That could totally happen. But if you fall in the trap, you're not like instantly dead or anything. You just lose half a heart, and then you get put back to a safe area.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine, like introducing the trap so they at least know what it is and how it functions.
Yeah, they're definitely going to fall into it the first time, but that's like, it's learning, Yeah. So, okay. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to we'll have a room that is, see, I don't want to commit ourselves to having a bunch of these like cross rooms, because that means we have to make a lot of rooms that connect with them. So I'm going to go into our thing and make a little turn left room. And we'll take this and just make it so that like I want to make sure that the tiles directly in front of where you spawn are not pits, because that's just unfair. So we're gonna just do like this. I don't know. I don't really like how this looks aesthetically, so we'll probably do something a little bit different down the line, but for now, we'll do it like this.
So is it the room where they're just supposed to turn back, or because as far as I know, there's no like jump option today. You just kind of walk around.
So they're going to be able to walk onto the pit, and they will be able to have like a second before it's all the way.
Okay, fair. Cool.
Yeah. So as long as they keep moving and you're decisive, you'll make it across. But if you linger too long, you'll fall down.
All right.
Sorry, I should have explained that better. Okay, so we got this tile map. Let's go back over to our blocks. It's gonna take a bit to load. My computer doesn't love running a video call and
streaming at the same time.
Yeah.
How old is your streaming or your current computer that you're using for streaming?
It's okay. I don't know how old it is actually, but it's it's a MacBook Pro that's a few years back.
Okay, yeah, because I don't like even back in like 6 years ago in 2015, if it was like a laptop, it'd have like 2 cores, which is
I haven't checked. I should check that.
Yeah.
Being someone doing video games. Okay, so we've got you're gonna like come into here. When you go to the left, you'll get to our trap room. So let's just go and see it. Over to the left, and nice. Cool, we got trap room. This looks actually much better with the colors than it did in the little preview. I'm kind of into this now. All right, so we got a few things we need to do. We need to make it so that these fall down when you start overlapping with them. We need to make it so that at some point, once you have overlapped with them, it turns into a different tile, right? So it's going to be like the empty floor, so just like black probably, or not black, but this like dark. whatever, that we've been kind of using for empty space. And then when you overlap with that tile, we'll make it so that you fall in. So let's start with the first thing, which is animating it. And the way we're going to animate it is we need a sprite. Can't do it without a sprite. We need to have a sprite because you can't animate tiles in Arcade. So to do that, I'm thinking, what's the best way to do it? We could create a sprite on every single one of these tiles when we open up the, like when we load the tile map, which, you know, actually that's not that bad. It's probably fine.
And just for the record, what were the other options?
The other option was when you start overlapping with the tile, then we create something that a sprite on top of it. So that's kind of like lazier,
Yeah.
You know, but that's a lot harder to program. So I think we're just going to go with putting everything on the like when we load the tile map. Because I mean, it's not that much. Like, what is it in the worst case? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 56. So that is actually a lot of sprites, but it'll still probably be fine. It'll probably be fine.
Yeah. Wasn't there I guess a goal to put in a feature that lets you know how well your current game would run on hardware?
Yeah, so that's the thing we're thinking about.
You have some sort of like Google source.
The idea that we've had for a while now and that we want to put into Arcade eventually is that you have like Hassan said, like a resource meter. And it'll be like the more sprites you have, the more memory you're using up, it'll just like fill up at the bottom of the simulator. And like once you get to a certain point, it'll be like, this game's not going to work on hardware. And we could also do something similar for like, if your game is running really slow, we'll be like, you're doing too much inside of an on-game update or something and kind of try to give you more information to make your game more efficient. But we don't really have like a schedule for that yet. So, but hopefully that'll happen one day. Okay, so let's go to our on-tile map loaded event and we're going to create our sprites for this. And so the way we're going to do that is we're going to loop over all of our locations. Go ahead and put this here. I'm going to select our pit trap. And we're going to create a tile with this image of kind pit trap. There we go. And I'm just going to keep using this new enemy variable because it doesn't really matter. Getting rid of this set wall, though. We don't want that. All right, so we've got a sprite that is on top of our pit tile, and it has the exact same image. So what we want to do now is we want to make it so that when you overlap with this pit trap, we're going to start animating it. And then if it, once the animation is finished, we're going to make it so that it has a Boolean that's set on it so that when we overlap with it, we'll instead do a fall and then have to go back out. So let's go ahead and start with our overlap event. We're going to go into sprites and grab one of our classic overlaps. Leave this one as player, change this one to be pit trap. And now we're going to use the sprite data extension. Aren't you glad that we added this before we started the stream this week so that we don't have to do the sprite data thing in unison?
I'm also reading Twitch chat.
Oh yeah. Anything interesting happening?
Yeah, Dabix is suggesting an idea for the art there. Something about switching colors on tiles. But I'm failing to see how this is different from the bucket. Or is it more like press a button to color switch?
So, I mean, we do have the ability to just switch the colors if we want to, but we're using just this 3-color palette for right now, and I want to stick to that.
I can try color. It gives you just a little bit more depth and monochrome.
Yeah, it's like almost a Game Boy. Game Boy headset.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to set this falling to be true, but we want to make sure that we're only running this if we aren't already falling. So let's go into back to our sprite data. Grab this guy. This other sprite falling, and we want to set this to be not. Okay, now we just want to play our animation on our pit trap. So I've already made this animation. So we're going to go into our animation, which is the same color as loops, but is not loops. We don't want loop frames. No, we do want that one. We just don't want to have a loop on. I'm going to change this to other sprite. I'm going to change this to be our frames. So I have this in my assets right here. And let's see how many frames we have. There's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8. Not that many. So then whatever our interval is times 8 is how long we're going to want this to like last. So for the interval, let's do like 100 milliseconds for now. Yeah, we'll see how doable this is. I mean, this is going to be a thing that we kind of just have to try out in the game and see what happens. But it looks pretty good. And now the way we're going to do our timing is we're going to set the lifespan on our sprite. So let's go.
Yeah, I got more clarification about the color feature. It's basically just like you would click a color in a tile, and then you'd have the chance to change. You know, like you would highlight all the pixels that have that color, and then you can just change it to something else. So it's not like the bucket, but you know, you have a lot of colors, just replace it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, I want that at some point. I want to have color replace, both for tiles and for sprites. So, like, I don't know what the UI is going to look like for it because it's kind of complicated, you know. But yeah, if Dobbix wants, you could file an issue for that one because I don't know if there is an issue for it on our GitHub, and we'll track it because I also want that feature. It's a good idea. All right, cool. So we set our lifespan. So this thing is going to run for 800 milliseconds. Then the sprite is going to be destroyed, and in its place, we're going to make a whole sprite. So let's go into sprites. We're going to get an onDestroyed event right here. We're going to change this to be pit trap. And then one other thing we want to do is we want to check to make sure that we are actually falling, because we're also going to destroy our pit traps when we like go in between tile maps. Right, because we don't want to keep them around when we're on the next tile map. So we want to make sure that it's actually falling. Otherwise, we'll end up creating a bunch of holes when we go from one to another. Which is no good. Okay, so if it's falling, we're going to go ahead and create a new sprite. So let's go down here, grab this. That sprite is just going to be nothingness. We're going to add a new kind, which is going to be pit. And I'm just going to use my new enemy variable here because that's what I've been using everywhere, and I don't want to create a bunch of variables. So it's kind of an enemy. Okay, and then we also need to set the location for this enemy. So we're going to go into our set position, and luckily we have our sprite right here. So we can just make it so that we use the X and the Y from that sprite. Cool. Okay. And hey, since I'm on a roll, let's go ahead and just do this other thing too. We want to do our on sprite of kind player overlaps our hole, and when that happens, we're going to make it so that they fall into the hole. And we might want to be a little more generous with this, but right now it's going to be if you overlap with it at all. It's kind of intense. We should probably make it so it's only if you overlap with the middle. That's pretty easy to do, actually. Well, sorta. Yeah, we'll do it. I'll explain what I was thinking about in just a second.
I mean, I guess you could also make it so that there's, like, we're adding the delay, right? So it doesn't just immediately, maybe have to go for a second or two to walk on it before it falls.
Yeah, so right now you have this 800 milliseconds, right?
Yeah.
Because we're only going to do this when there's an overlapping with the kind pit, and we won't create the pit until this gets destroyed. But the thing I'm thinking about was, so we might not want to make it so that you fall when you are overlapping with the edge of the hole, because that's going to be kind of weird, you know? Like if your tail is overlapping with the hole, you're going to fall down it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So what we could do instead is, instead of having the sprite be like the hole sprite, we could make it so that if we are a certain distance from the center of that sprite, then we do the fall. So inside of our overlaps, we're going to check our distance from the center. And if it's below a certain amount, then we're going to just move all the way over to the center, and we're going to play our falling animation, and then we're going to respawn. All right, so let's do that. Luckily, we've got sprite utils, and sprite utils has maybe my favorite function in sprite utils. Actually, my favorite one is probably the set velocity at angle, and then like this angle. There's so many good ones in sprite utils. I can't choose a favorite. Okay, so we can use this distance thing to see how close we are. So we're going to do the distance between sprites and other sprites. And if it's less than, I don't know, like if their centers are like, I guess if it's like less than 8, so that would mean you're like halfway into the sprite, then you should fall down. And we'll see how that feels and maybe tweak it. Okay, so if that happens, we're going to set our hero to, we're gonna do a fall. And the way we're gonna make that happen is we're gonna set our hero to be a ghost. Where are you at? We're going to make our hero a ghost. The reason we're doing this is because we only want this to run once. So if we don't make it a ghost, then it's going to keep overlapping with this in the next frame. We're going to have a little bit of time now before we do something else. So we're going to make our hero a ghost. We're going to move them so that they're at the same location. So I'm going to take this over here. I'm going to change this to be hero. And I'm going to make this sprite other sprite. So we're going to make it so that it is on top of the location. We're going to play our falling animation. So let's go back into animation, grab another one of these guys. Make this hero. And we're going to choose that falling animation I made. Which one? This one. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames. And let's see. Maybe we'll make this faster. Yeah, that looks good. So we're gonna run this. We're gonna wait for like 700 milliseconds or something, and then we will make it so that we're not a ghost anymore, and we can control the sprite again. So that brings up the other thing I need to do, which is to make sure that we actually turn off controls. So I'm gonna go into move hero with buttons, make this 0, 0, so that the player can't move away while they're falling.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we're going to go into timer, and then do an after whatever. We'll do after 1 second. You can just like have to stare at a blank hole for just a little bit of time. And then we're going to set off. We're going to turn our movement back on. And the last thing we need to do is we need to disable our character animations while we're doing this. So we're going to go into right here and set our character animations to be off. That way we can do our own thing. Then we're going to go over here and we're going to set it to be on. All right.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. This isn't quite going to work, but I think this is good enough to test our code now. So let's go do that. All right, we're going to go over here. I'm going to go over here and we're going to run and whoa.
Whoa.
Pretty cool. Okay, so I need to fix the Z index, but I think this looks pretty good, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, yeah, all right. Here's the problem, and it's really actually hard to see because I haven't set the Z index right. So let's fix that, and then I'll point out what the problem is. So to our hero. We're going to set our Z to be 10. All right, now we'll run on over back to our dungeon, back to that room. And okay, I'm going to make some pits. Now I'm going to overlap with this and oh, I guess I'm just stuck in this pit forever. So we need to know what a safe place to put our hero back on is.
Yeah.
And to do that, we need to basically store whatever the last non-pit tile we were on is. So to do, like, I think the easiest way to do that is going to be inside of an on-game update. And then the idea I had was basically we'll just do like a set. We'll do a logic and yeah, this is fine. And then we're going to do a in scene. There is a tile to like center is right, this one. So we're going to say if the tile to the center of our hero is our dungeon floor tile, then we're going to make a new variable. It's going to be last safe tile. And we're going to set it to be the location of our hero. Okay, now we're going to go over to where we're doing our falling. And at the end of this, we're going to place our hero on top of that last safe location, which should always be set. So I'm just going to blindly assume it's there. Let's see. Scene. Place on top of. Make this hero. Make this last safe tile. And then the other thing was we were still transparent at the end of this thing. So I think we also need to like set our image back to the default image to make sure that it's like not just transparency. So we're going to do hero. And we're going to set the image to the image of our mouse. There you go. Okay. Let's try this out now. Whoop. Up.
Nice.
Whoop. Up. Cool. All right. So we now have oh right, I'm not destroying my pits and holes yet. So we need to do that real quick. So let's go over to our on tile map loaded. And we're going to do destroy all sprites of kind. We're going to do destroy all sprites of kind pit trap and destroy all sprites of kind hole. A pit. And then the other thing we're going to do is we need to make sure that for all of our sprites of kind pit trap, if any of them are currently animating, we need to make sure that they're not anymore. So we need to set that Boolean to be false. Otherwise, we could, like, if we were really fast and we had one that was falling and then we immediately went over to the next room, then when that one gets destroyed, it's going to create a hole in our new tile map, which we don't want. Does that make sense? Cool. So let's do loops. Let's do a for of. Put it up here at the top. We're going to do all array of all sprites of kind. Going to change this to be pit trap. Going to go into arcade sprite data and set this to be.
Oh man, I totally missed the opportunity to do the
yeah,
like the whole Ginyu Force level cheer.
Okay, so let's try this out. I think we should be good now.
Safe.
All right, now I go over here. There's no holes. I go back over here and the pits are back.
Nice.
Cool. It also has the side effect of looking really cool, I think.
It does. Do we want the player to be able to fall into the pit again once they've, once they've kind of sprung the trap, or should it become like a wall?
Oh yeah, they should be able to fall in again, I think.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, we're not that nice. All right. So the last thing we have to do is we need to take damage. So we're not. Oh boy. And we need to fix the z-index of these guys, or rather of our sword. So we need to take damage, and to do that, we have a nice little take damage function. I'm going to go into our function. We're going to go ahead and call deal damage to hero. And we're going to pass in this. This will probably be fine. Other sprite. So that's going to actually bounce us back a little bit, but I don't think it'll be enough to fall into another hole. I'm hoping. So let's see. Oh yeah, no, that's no good. So it's bouncing us back too far. Yeah, so we don't want to do the bouncing back. So I'm going to go to the definition of this. Deal damage to hero.
We made knockback default.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to do edit. We're going to do, I think we'll pass in knockback speed. No. Don't knock back. That's going to default to false. But if we set it to true, we're going to not do this velocity at angle. What the? Did I make that not a Boolean? What are you? You're a number. Oh no, I don't think it likes that I made it a different type.
No.
Don't KB. There we go. Okay, and we're just going to put the set velocity in here. And we'll go over to here. Yeah, see, it's very unhappy that I did that. Good job, Blockley. All right, go over here. I'll drag out another one of these. Change this to be hero. And then we'll leave that as true. So So yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty good at recognizing Blockly bugs. And that was one of them. All right, fall in the hole. There we go. So we get the blinking, but we don't go back. So but we take damage. So that's good. And I think that does it. We've done our pit trap. So thanks for sticking with us. I know we went a little bit over time. But tune in tomorrow where we're going to be doing more exciting dungeon stuff. I'm Richard, at Richard on the MakeCode forum.
And I'm Hassan, at Hassan on the MakeCode forum.
And thanks for tuning in.